Okay, now you can't hear it at all. Hello, Callaway. Hi. I'm trying to get the sound just right. I'm doing well. Alright, music down just a little bit. I'm talking. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Okay, these drawing streams are always the worst because you want the music to be like there in the background, but you don't want it to be too loud or else it's actually kind of distracting. And I'm trying to do two things at once and I'm a terrible multitasker. Also, the music is too loud in my ears. Where's my... Okay, there it is. 90% of the time, okay, so I have my drawing tablet connected to my computer, obviously. And it's like this weird, like, I have to go across and then down to get to my tablet. I should do that, actually. So I have to go across and then down. And oftentimes I will lose my mouse because it'll get stuck down here on this screen. That's my drawing tablet. And I'm like, where is it? I have like this purple mouse and my background's mostly white. What's going on here? And I can never find it. But I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. It's been something I've been wanting to start for a bit, and finally I was like, I can save this for Sunday when I usually do like art streams or whatnot. But I feel like if I don't start now, I'll never start. So we're starting with it because I've had a little idea rummaging around in my brain. Why is my phone beeping at me? Xfinity. Well, no shiz. My phone treats my iPad like it's a new device every time. It's like, oh, a new device just connected to your network. It's a 9th generation iPad. You ever heard of it before? Yeah, dummy. It's connected literally hundreds of times. Anyways, just gotta love that. Although, to be fair, one of these days, Xfinity is going to be like, hey, a new device just connected. It seems to be CryptoMiner 5000. Is that one of yours? Then I'm going to have to pull out an axe, but we'll see. Of course, I guess that would imply that like my upstairs neighbors are crypto mining and bumming off of my Wi-Fi, or someone's just real sneaky outside with a giant server. Excuse me, the giant server bank. Oh my goodness. Anyways, that's what I've been doing. How have you been, Callaway? Ooh. Oh man. I've been lazy and I can feel it in my legs. I need to probably get back to taking walks. There was a time there I was taking like some daily walks and I got out of the habit because I got lazy. Alright. What are we doing today? Oh yeah. Things have been good. There's been some thunderstorms in the area, which has been nice. You know what they say. April in like a lion, out like a lamb. They haven't said that in a long time. They said that when I was in elementary school. And the year might not have started with 2 when that was the case. So I very much doubt people say that anymore. But I still remember it for some reason. I think, why do I remember that? Oh yeah, I remember that from like... Was that kindergarten or first grade? That was kindergarten. Because I remember we had like... Oh, we had like a little like cork board that we had a bunch of stuff that was like tacked up on. And the teacher had like this laminated pen. The teacher had this laminated calendar. I'm gonna draw it out. And no. Okay. Teacher had this laminated calendar bits, and they would just switch out stuff as needed. So it was just like a regular calendar, and then they would just change out the days, but they would always change out like the top banner here to be whatever month it was. So the regular calendar bit underneath would stay the same, but they would just tack over whatever they needed to change on it. And And I remember for April, I don't know why this stuck in my brain like permanently. I remember for April, I remember there being like a picture of both like a lion and a lamb on it, or like a lion and a sheep, and I was like, why is that? And the teacher had like this whole, I was thinking that, but I never said it out loud, but the teacher had this whole lesson where she was like, oh yeah, you ever hear the phrase like in like a lion, out like a lamb? That's what this means. It means that that April starts with a whole bunch of like storms and rains and whatnot. By the time you get to the end of April, the weather was a lot nicer. And I was like, oh. And I think that was like a very, very subtle way of getting kids to, let's see, would that be an example? In like a lion, out like a lamb? That would be it's a simile that uses like or as, right? Yeah. It was kind of a very subtle way to help us understand similes or metaphors. I don't know. Honestly, either one will do. I don't really care. Oh my goodness. I have been so burpy the last couple days. I don't know what. I think it's because I drank coffee, but usually it doesn't make me do this. Another thing is I haven't been eating like I used to, because I've just had, one thing I've noticed that I do is that if ever I'm eating something that's just like, it's not terrible, but it's like, it's food and it gets the job done. It's like not terrible, but it's not great either. It's just like pretty, not even just mid, just like a below that's pretty just like meh. Or there's one part of it that's pretty bad. Like let's say there's chicken in it, but they use chicken breast and it's super dry and stringy. For whatever reason, lately whenever I've run into dishes that are like that, I just don't eat enough. And I end up being really hungry later, and then I get really burpy. I did the last 2 days. I did that yesterday because we had at work we have like a rotating schedule of companies like restaurants that will come in and like cater for lunches. We still have to pay for them, but it's cheaper than normal. And they had an Indian place come in yesterday, and they have decent butter chicken, but I think I've just eaten their butter chicken too much because yesterday when I was eating it, they had the sauce is good, the rice is good, the naan is good whenever they don't run out, but the chicken was so dry and stringy. I was like, and it was like huge chunks too, so you get like a little bit of you get a decent amount of sauce, but you take like one bite of sauce and you have to go like get a straw and suck up the rest of the sauce that's on the side just to get through the chicken. It was like, geesh. And usually I can put that stuff away, but I just couldn't do it. I was like, I'm so done with this meal, like halfway through, just couldn't eat it anymore. Although I also probably was looking forward to my own butter chicken that I was making that night. It's one of my favorite recipes. Oh man. And it's so good. But I need to get the ratio of rice to sauce down, because if I ever make too much rice and then I add in that sauce with it, then it gets really watered down and it gets bad, because it's just mostly rice flavor. But if I have way more than enough sauce, it's really good, because butter chicken is all about the sauce. It's all about the actual like butter sauce and not the chicken or the rice. So made way too much rice, man. Way too much rice. I gotta remember, 2 cups of rice, way too much, even though I'm trying to spread it out over a while and get a bunch of meals out of it. It ain't it, fam. It ain't it. All right. What are we doing? Okay. I should probably actually jump into what we're doing before while I'm still yapping about my random eating habits. So I guess, I don't know, not eating a big lunch yesterday made me really burpy, and then I didn't really eat a good dinner last night either, and then I had coffee today, and then I've just been burping constantly ever since lunch today. Even though, what was lunch today? Lunch today was pretty bad too. It had some buffalo chicken tenders, but again, it was that super dry, like so dry, terrible, awful chicken. Ugh. I tell you what, I've eaten so much terrible chicken breast in my life that's just dry as hell. And I think I just genuinely don't like it, but I've eaten it so much that it's just like, whatever, I can eat it. But it's getting harder and harder to eat that, man. Anymore, I never buy chicken breast anymore. I only ever buy chicken thighs, and I cook with chicken thighs because A, they're way better, way juicier, and way more difficult to mess up. Oh, excuse me. They are thinner and they cook faster, so you can get them pretty dry, but because there's more fat on them, it's a lot more difficult. Mind you, they're not as healthy for you. A, because there's more fat on them. But I tell you what, I'd rather eat a chicken thigh over a chicken breast any day. It's one of those things that as soon as you switch from, you get so many recipes use chicken breast. And when you think chicken, you think of chicken breast because pretty much everything uses that. And you think of like dark meat as something that is just in like fried chicken, like, oh yeah, get the leg, get the thigh, those are the two best pieces and everybody knows it. But everyone always takes a little bit of piece of white and then like one piece of the dark meat. Because we're trying to be nice. Because if you take all the dark meat, you're an asshole. And I used to cook with chicken breast and it always ended up being like dry and stringy, and I was like trying to figure out how to cook it right. But then eventually, I think I was watching, what was it? I think it was Mythical Kitchen, and Josh was talking about like, oh, using chicken thighs and everything rather than like breast, and I was like, oh, I'll give that a try. So I switched to using chicken thighs for a recipe. I'm never going back. You can't make me cook with breast again unless it's absolutely necessary. It's chicken thighs all the way. There's literally the best meat on the chicken. How I think breast became the main meat just because they're so like thick. There's just so much there, and often you have to like de-skin and debone, and they don't come with like skin or bones on them. So people are probably like, oh, it's just meat. We can just cook it up and real quick. But man, you gotta really know what you're doing to cook chicken breast properly. I'm about to say something that I shouldn't. My mom is not one of the people that knows how to cook chicken breast properly. I don't think, or really, it's not my, actually, no, now that I think about it, it is my mom sometimes, whenever she makes something that's not on a grill. My dad, too, is really bad at making grilled chicken breasts. He'll make them for, like, my mom and my sisters because they like them, but they're so dry and awful. It's just... Neither of my parents can cook a good chicken breast. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. Or a good pork chop. They're always so dry. And they're not flavored. They're not seasoned right. Oh, man. My family really likes more bland taste. Well, I like a lot more spice in my food. I like a lot more spice. And not just like heat, but just like flavor, you know? So, yeah. Oh. I think the worst offender, though, is this absolutely terrible taco seasoning that my mom has used for as long as I've been alive. It's so bad. It's like the Mission taco seasoning, I think, but it's got like little like dried flakes of it's got like little dried flakes of like onion and peppers in it, and it's just so flavorless and bad, and somehow it just really dries out the meat. I always kind of dread whenever we're having like Sunday dinner and she's like, come on over, we're having tacos. I'm like, oh man. Oh no. Please tell me you can let me make the guacamole so we can at least have a little bit of flavor. I can put that on the taco meat so I don't have to taste it. And I love taco meat. It's taco meat. Who doesn't like taco meat? But it's this same spice that she's been using for decades, and it's so bad. It's so bad. And I think everyone else in my family likes it. I don't. It's one of those things like, are you ever going to tell your mom, like, her cooking's bad? You can't do that. You can't do that. And most of the time it's great. Most of the time it's great. But just both she and Dad cannot cook a chicken breast or a pork chop to save their lives. I can't either, so I've just completely given up on it. Although, also, only time I ever do pork chops is if I'm making a katsu, and even then that's a lot easier, but you're also frying them, and it's sealing in a lot of the juices, so, but my mom specifically, if she would just use literally any other taco seasoning, it would be good. Now, I would understand because they're both getting older, they're both in their 60s, they're trying to cut back on their sodium intake and all of that. I understand. I would understand if they like got specific seasonings just for that reason. Totally get it. I want you guys for around as long as possible. I understand. But the fact that she's been using the same taco seasoning for decades before that was an issue. I guess she just likes it, or it's just the one that she's always bought. I don't know. I don't have the heart to tell her that we need better taco seasoning. I'm just kind of hope and pray that someday I'm on my way over and she's like, oh, hey, I don't have any taco seasoning. Can you stop and get some? I'll be like, sure. And I can get a different one and be like, hey, I saw this one. Thought we could try it. Might change things up a bit. Because how do you tell your mom? Genuinely, how do you tell your mom that one of the things she makes is not great? It's just not. Let's see. We had this conversation once, and I did tell her that her chicken breasts are kind of dry, and I've never really liked them. I did say that to Mom once. I don't remember how we got on this conversation, but it came out, and I could genuinely see her. And her face, she went from like a just like a I'm really hurt right now, but I'm trying not to show it phase. And I felt so bad. I don't even remember how we got on this. This was years ago. And I think I was in kind of a state, or I remember I was not in the best of moods. And for some reason, stuff was getting like aired out at the kitchen table. And I brought that up for whatever reason. And I felt bad about it ever since, so that's another reason why I can never tell her, because I've told her once, and it did not go well? Hold on. What is? Something about to fall? No, okay. Because whenever I, like, touch my... It's like something's off, or is it just this wire? I think it's just that wire. Okay. Sorry, I had to check and make sure one of my... Okay, because there's not really a whole lot of clearance for the stands on my, whatever you call them, monitors, so I had to double check and make sure one of them wasn't getting close to the edge, in other words, because I didn't buy these monitors. They are extremely nice, and they were given to me free as a gift. And if one of them was to break, I would be absolutely flipperknocked. So... yeah, because I cannot afford to replace them. I'm getting close. I cannot afford to replace them. Anyways, let's jump into what I had planned. Or what I want to start, really. I don't intend to do all of this on stream, but I do want to start it on stream. I've been watching a lovely lady by the name of Wilhelmina Frost for the past almost 6 months now. Where is my mouse? There it is. let me get a picture. Wilhelmina Frost Phase Connect. I don't. Well, okay. I do know her past life. Let's see. Let me get a picture. Let me get. Oh, well, this is gonna be a good one, anyways. Hold on. Something that you can do if you're trying to get PNGs off of online, or like just Google image search. Right click on the picture, and then click open in a new tab, and it will actually like put in a new tab, and it will be like a much bigger, like higher res version, and then the one that's just in the Google search, and then you copy that into here. I just copy image. Okay, I just did something really stupid. I clicked copy instead of paste, so I copied something blank. There we go. This is our official reference sheet. This is something that's going to be good-ish. Good-ish. I've been watching her quite a bit. She unfortunately lives not in Australia, but in Australia. It's definitely not Australia. Definitely not Australia. But she is a legendary knight, captain of the Royal Guard, very heavy into kayfabe, which is just like the character and lore of, really sticking to like the lore of their character. So for example, even if she's talking about very clearly about driving in her car home from work, she'll go out of her way to make sure that she changes all the things that would be modern conveniences into like old like medieval stuff. Like, oh, I was riding my horse and I was turned into like the horse radio and stuff like that. So, which is a real thing. So Australia currently has the wildest technology, but they have magic, so it's just mostly magic. So yeah, but so it'll be stuff like that. She's very much into playing her character, which is a lot of fun. But unfortunately, she lives in Australia, and which is literally on the other side of the world. So she usually starts streaming about 3 a.m. So I have to watch all of her VODs. But as I've been doing so, her fan name is called the Willagers, after Wilhelmina Willagers, and Villagers, and she has this voice that she does for them that's like, Captain, like, oh Captain, the orcs are at the walls again, what do we do? And something like that, and it's very funny, and that got me thinking about like, and especially, okay, that and a bunch of people in chat also like to play along as well. And they will pretend to be just the most hapless villagers and guards that have ever existed. And she's just trying to like herd cats. It's really funny and it's a lot of fun. Very entertaining, lovely streams, wonderful community. But all that little role-playing, it gave me some ideas for some little comics. If you remember, this was a while ago. When did I do this? When did I do this? There it is. Open this, please. A little while ago, I did the what did I name that? It was That's Your Problem Now too, right? Yeah. it's this one. I'm just gonna open up the PNG. Yeah, it's this one. I did this little comic a while ago with these little chibi characters. I had a lot of fun doing this. And this gave me an idea to do something with her and just the most... making little comics about her trying to actually be a guard captain with literally some of the most hapless doofs you've ever seen. And I've been thinking about this for a while, but I figured today we might as well start. And I've been thinking about making this for a long time. Today I finally just start. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I've had a bunch of ideas for random little comics to make, and I've had a bunch of them for her. Like, I've had a few here and there for like some Hololive talents, but for her, and something about the streams mixed with the role play, the very lighthearted fun between chat, it just made me think of a whole bunch of little like goofy comics and side characters. And eventually I was like, you know what? I technically have the ability to draw. Technically. Why not? Why not be a little delulu and actually make them? Because there's only one way you can get better. So, now mind you, I'm not going to obviously do full characters. I probably want to do little chibis like I did for Mori and Gigi here. I still love this Mori so much. With this squat little body and the really long hair. This is like, I think this is one of my favorite things I've ever drawn, this picture of Callie. So today I wanted to just get out. I just wanted to mess around and get some, and kind of draw some of the ideas that are in my head for some of the characters. I had an idea for 3 technically characters. There's going to be Wilhelmina, or Willie slash Mina slash Captain. Because I don't think she or the chat realizes this, but we've started doing something. Whenever we're being silly, we call her Willie. Whenever she's being cute, or we want her to know that she's cute, we call her Mina. And whenever she's quote unquote actually acting like a captain and doing her nightly duties, we'll call her Captain. I don't think it's just kind of, it's just something that we've fallen into doing, and I don't think anyone's fully realized what they're doing. But I want to do a couple jokes around that. So we have Willie, Mina, Captain. That's all one. She's all one, but we'll call her something different based on what she's doing in the comic. 2, there's going to be the villager. The little guy who's like, "Oh, Captain, the orcs are at the walls again, and unfortunately, I've lost the key. What? We've got to find it." Who's like the little hapless, like, doof who speaks for the chat and sounds like, let's see, yeah, he's just a doof. He just sounds like he's pathetic, but he's here and he's trying, man. Like, Captain. There's a lot of, it very much has a lot of "Mom, I just threw up, also we're being robbed" energy. And then, let's see, so Willagers is her general name, but she also streams on multi-streams to both Twitch and YouTube. So she calls her Twitch chat the Twillagers, and the YouTube chat the Yillagers. I actually want to make these 2 different characters. So I want to have, there's Mina doing her thing, sword, yay! Then I want to have like one villager who's just like this one like dopey skinny guy in armor that's way too big for him. And you never see his face, but he's always like the little crier guy, and he's the only one that actually talks besides Mina and then side characters. And then the Twillagers and Yillagers, they're all kind of together because I want them to all just be like one body shape. Have you ever seen like those... I'm trying to think of where I've seen this before, but like just like big fridge shaped dumb brutes who like just don't speak and are just goofy little guys. And they have big heads, big hats, big chins. You don't see their eyes ever because the hats are always over them, unless when they're like, oh, and staring at something. Who are all just kind of going around, getting into trouble, being at best a nuisance, and at worst actually making the issue worse. So, but they're kind of like, I imagine them as kind of just like, they never speak except for when like, blah, 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 blah. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, or just like random little emojis and things like that. Almost said emoticons. I almost really aged myself right there, but then I went ahead and said it. But they're always only speaking like random little emojis. The only one who can actually speak is the Villager, and he's the one who actually reports to Mina. And he's always there speaking his little voice like, what is it? Like, oh, Mina, we've lost the galleons again, ma'am. Sorry, it was my job to watch them this week. You've lost them again. That's another fun joke. All right. Have you ever heard the phrase "losing gallons"? It comes from a Gargur clip. Some guy sent in, I don't know. She was like, I don't know if it was like a super chat or if it was just a message. I think it was a super chat. And one guy sent in some random user sent in a super chat saying, "I've lost gallons to you." Obviously applying something a little yabai, and not quite so say so, and maybe a little penile. And she read that and she was just like, well, I hope you find them. It was very clear she knew what it meant, but she was just like, well, I'm gonna deflect this, and it became a super viral clip. But now the phrase "I've lost gallons" has kind of broken containment, and now it just means it's the original context that it was a Gur clip has been completely lost, and now people just know it to mean like, oh, I've done unspeakable things while thinking about you. So, however, we've switched it from gallons to galleons. The ships. So whenever when someone says, "Oh my, there was some art we saw of you on the Twitter. Unfortunately, it was quite distracting, and I lost my galleon." She'd be like, "You what?" I think it's stuff like that, because it's like there's a lot of stuff that you can do with jokes like that. Maybe I can draw some actual good Mina art, a little sexy, put it in there, and have people staring at it, and then a ship actually gets stolen in the background. I've just been thinking about dumb ideas like that for literally months at this point, and finally today I was like, you know what, fuck it. Alright, so today what I really want to be doing is I want to be doing some doodles for like the little chibi versions of these, because I don't want to just I don't want these to be photorealistic. I want them to be something very much like this, where it's just like little chibi versions of the characters that are still very recognizable. Like, you know who it is that you're looking at. However, they're a lot easier to draw and a lot rounder too, and just a lot funner. Although I do think I still need to keep some things on Mina in order for her to be, or probably some of the jokes. So, let's see. I think the people that I have most in mind, though, are like the Twillagers and Yillagers. And I thought it'd be really funny if I just like kept them mostly shirtless, but then put them into like, I'm on a different layer. I am on a different layer. But put them into like different kilts and pants based on whether they're a Twillager and a Yillager. Like, Yillagers because they're on YouTube are in red, Twillagers are in, because they're on Twitch, are in purple. And that's the way that you tell them apart. Because let's see, because you always, let's see. I think it's necessary because A, she streams on both, and B, she has little pet names for both of them, where most people it's like YouTube chat, or just YouTube and Twitch, because I watch a couple people that multi-stream, Yui being the next other one. Who else do I watch that multi-streams? Maybe Yane multi-streams. I don't think Lulu Lasso multi-streams too. Honestly, if you're kind of small, there you should be multi-streaming. And if you start out multi-streaming, there's really no reason not to keep it up. There's really no reason not to keep it up. Because then people can just watch you on whichever platform they prefer. Twitch is a lot better for chat engagement, and with emotes and things like that, it's just so much better for that. But the ads on it are really annoying. Whereas YouTube, Twitch is also just better to stream too, because you don't really have to set it up beforehand. You can just be like, all right, cool, go live, add a title to this, make sure I'm in the right category, and we're good to go. Whereas YouTube, you need like a thumbnail and all that stuff. You actually have to schedule the thing out beforehand, or else it'll just make something. That'll be kind of shit. So, yeah. And YouTube also doesn't have nearly as many like emote options or like chat integrations and things like that. However, it's not as annoying with ads. It's not nearly as annoying with ads. Like, what was it? I was trying to watch Camilla earlier today, and and she's Twitch only, because she's been having a lot of stuff going on lately. Pray for her. But she lost a bunch of her family, and she was telling a story today about how she very, very, very just like by pure chance ended up getting to spend like a couple hours while she was getting a tattoo with like her favorite musical artist of all time. She like randomly met this girl at a concert for this musical artist. I think her name is Melanie. And then started following her on Instagram, found out that she was a famous tattoo artist, and was like, oh, hey, I've been wanting to get a tattoo. This person had an opening, and she was in the LA area, so Camilla was like, oh, hey, I'd love to get a tattoo from you. She's like, sure, come on down. And just by pure happenstance, at the same time, because she also wanted to get a tattoo after that, Camilla's favorite musical artist, Melanie, was just there hanging out, and she got to hang out with her and like talk to her for 2 hours while she was like getting a really cool tattoo and whatnot, and which is like, holy shit, that's a really cool experience. And this is like right just a couple days after she lost a lot of her extended family and like the war that's going on over in the Middle East. She had family in Lebanon. What did I do with my pen? I just set it down somewhere. I put it away. Why did I do that? So she's had kind of a wild roller coaster these past couple days. But it was just a really cool, like, honestly wholesome little story. I was like, yeah, you know what? Some really bad stuff has happened, but there's some good stuff in this world too. So anyways, all right, I'm talking too much. But I was watching her and the ads were terrible. Bro, I had Twitch Turbo for so long because I watched so many people on Twitch that I forgot about that. But I rarely use Twitch anymore. I'll catch like a little bit of Zen every now and then, and I'll catch a Vettel stream too, or Neuro stream I probably should say. But that's about it. It's about the only people I watch on. It's about the only people that I watch anymore. Although I might watch some more of the Cyclothon, because I'm pretty sure tonight's the last night. I've been streaming for like 45 minutes. I've drawn like 3 lines. Usual drawing stream for me. Anyways. Alright. What do I want to do? Okay. I wanted to make a new layer, and then I wanted to hide this. I put all of this on the same layer. That was a very silly thing for me to do. Luckily, I can separate it pretty easily. You can just do this, and then is it this one? No, cut and paste. Boom, now they're on separate layers. Look at that business. Oh, wait, I didn't. Oh. I'm on the wrong layer. That's why nothing was happening. There we go, okay. Now this is on a different layer. Okay, hide this. Go back down here and get rid of this dot because it's going to drive me crazy. Boo! Okay, there we go. Alright, and we don't really... That's good reference for later. We don't really need it for right now. Back up here. Actually, hold on. I do need this back. Alright, I want to focus on doing some little... So anytime I hear any rumbling, I'm like, ooh, are we getting a storm again? Because we've had so many the last couple days, and I heard some rumbling above me. Alright. Nope, nope. Nope. Okay. Alright, first thing to do, I want to do a little bit of... I want to do a few sketches for the actual, like, Twillagers and Yellagers. Because I think those are the most... Let's see. Those ones are the most fleshed out in my mind, because it's their shenanigans that I imagine the most. So I imagine a pair. One Twillager and one Yellager. They're like the main duo. I want them to be basically fridges. For some reason I always imagine them wearing kilts too. I think it's because we have no pants Fridays, which is a running joke. Where we take our pants off on Fridays, we don't wear them. However, Mina is wearing a skirt, so she just takes off her leggings. But it's like, yay, you're done with the work week. That's over. Let's go home, take your pants off. So, however, I always imagine them wearing kilts because, I mean, why not? She also doesn't have an official mascot just yet. Let's see, I heard her mention something about wanting to like do fan submissions for that. I think that's another thing that kind of, well, it's definitely another thing that was like, all right, it's time to start, because I've had these ideas. Why don't we just like actually start practicing them now? Because I'm not the best artist, so I need to get started on this stuff early. There's also this guy who, I forget what his name. I recognize his art style, but he's a FaZe fan, and he's been like slowly drawing these little comics of all the FaZe talents for a while. And the dude's not a professional artist by any means, but you can definitely tell he's getting better. Either that, or he just has a very unique style. But he's just like, you know what, I want to do this, and he'll just draw it out. It's definitely not professional, but he's actually just doing it. And he's doing it for the love of the game, and I admire that a lot, because I don't. And it's one thing I've always wanted to do. So, let's see. So, thumb. And no, I need to actually put in the arm first before I put in the hand. That's always a lot more helpful. Let's see, I think Mina's streaming tonight. I don't know what, though. I need to look at her schedule. Alright, so I'm just putting some details down. I think, honestly, the thing that really I'm basing these guys off of, like Children's Needlers, is like the cartoony versions of the orcs from 40K. Just like big, wide, thick arms that go down, really stupid. For some reason, I always imagine them holding the sword from the long end and throwing it instead of just actually stabbing people with it. She's like, well, we got a I was imagining like being like, why do you always throw the swords? Well, we get one every month. We've got to do something with them. That's true, but don't they stab your hands? Oh, sure. It's part of the training. Oh, sure, it's part of the training. Oh, I threw up. Captain, I threw up. Also, we're being robbed. What? Stop with that. I thought I'd say the throw up first because it was right outside the door and I didn't want you to slip on it. Okay, well. It's the head that I'm most worried about, because I always imagine them with really big chins. With really big, like, chins, maybe like a couple teeth sticking out, and then helmets coming down like completely over their eyes. Like this, so you can't really see. So they have to mostly just emote with their mouths. However, whenever something would really surprise them, actually, I don't need to do the whole thing. I could have just done the head. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. However, when something would really surprise them, this would lean back. This would come up a bit. And their eyes would pop through. That's why. I don't look like minions. Because the eyes need to be more like this. Because eyes are not flat discs. That's why. Although minion eyes kind of are. Still look like minions. Oh my god, they look like minions. With the helmet like that. I don't know why. Because it makes them look... Because it makes them look like they all have bald heads. So I need to make the eyes a little bit more rectangular. Like more like, whoa! And really exaggerated. I think that'll help. I know the reason why they really look like minions is because their eyes are over the helmet. That's why it is. That's why it is. I need to have that. I need to have the helmet go up like... I need to have the helmet actually go up like... past their eyes, like the helmet has actually got raised up by their eyes going up this wide. Yeah, that's better. And then that is so cursed. Nope, hate that. I was like, how are we gonna do mouth agape? It needs to be like... like they just saw something crazy, like, what? Now I know what it is. Okay, we didn't really give them the proper jawline. Okay, that just looks weird. Better jawline. Okay. And this needs to not be so symmetrical. It needs to be more just floppy. There we go. There we go. Villager's neutral, Villager's shocked. I'm not crazy about this. It's missing some sort of like cartoonish quality. Because right now they look way too like mean and angry. I want them to just be like dirt, like doofy guys. I think it's really in like the chin. I'll come back down to layers this. What's on this layer? What's on this layer? Oh, I have 2 layers of these guys. Oh, that's actually a good thing. I'll leave this up. Leave that there, and I'll use this one. Because I'm not too crazy about this neutral head either. I'll play around with it a bit. There's the helmet being like a little tilted forward as well. Okay. The helmet being a little tilted forward as well. I don't like that. I feel like I need to sit like pretty much on top of their head, or maybe I'll bring it down just a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit of a nose. This is one of those times where what I imagine in my head and what I want to put on the canvas are 2 very different things. or what I'm able to put on the canvas are two very different things. Okay, because that looks like a fairly competent person. Maybe the chin needs to just be huge. Ah, man. Oh, actually... Okay. Kind of cleffing the chin like that helps a bit. Maybe if I make it more like... add a little bit more curve to it. Okay, now it looks like they just don't have eyes. This isn't gonna bother me so much. It's getting closer to what I imagined, but it's not quite there. Of course, them just looking like they don't have eyes isn't really that big of a deal, I'm gonna be honest. It's supposed to be like a little goofy cartoon. Do I want to do a nose though? That's the real question. I think it almost makes them look too realistic or too goofy. If I do just a little like... just a really realistic nose. A few nose hairs. There we go. Ironically, I think it's the best nose I've ever drawn. Although I do want to do stuff like that where you run to certain characters and all of a sudden they're just super well drawn for no reason. Like everyone's like these fun little chibi like, hi guys, and then you just have one just like realistically drawn and colored like person, and it's always someone important. Like you meet Wilhelmina's mom, she's Wilhelmina's boss. And she's just a impeccably drawn hot MILF. Stuff like that could be fun, but I had to upgrade all my other art skills if I'm gonna do that. Although actually having something like, hey, a little something I want to make will actually encourage me for that. Let's see, do I want... Okay, this little bit right here is a bit of an accident. Now it's making me think like, do I want these helmets to have a little bit of a brim to them? Maybe they like hang down a bit. No, that just makes them look like bad fisherman's caps. I think just like your bog standard random helmets. Kind of want him to have a goofy little grin. What would he look like with a goofy little grin? We're just trying out stuff right here. I have... This guy's like the new base, so I don't want to mess with him too much. But yeah, I kind of do. Actually, yeah, I might keep just this. Because I'm liking this so far, so... I'm going to copy and paste. Keep that and then just mess with... Actually, hold this. And then this, go back down here, and then we're gonna cut and paste. I'm gonna put that on. So that's the body, that's the head, and then that's another head that we're gonna play around with. So we have that base already. Okay. And then if I want him to do a little bit of a smile. How do I do this? Oh man, them having these really big like chins is actually really getting in the way. actually makes it hard. Actually, having like this Chad chin. I think I need to bring back the chin just a little bit. I think it's a little bit too much. So I think we need to bring it back down over here. Oh, okay, there we go. Hold up. There we go. And then yeah, I'm a bit tired. I haven't had to use my brain this much. Other than at work for a while now. Okay, I definitely like the fatter chin. It does make them look a little bit more doofy. No, I don't like eyes. I don't like the eyes. I might bring the helmet down a little bit more. No, I don't want that. I might bring the helmet down a little bit more. Just for effect. There we go. Now, let's see. I think I need... Because definitely what I'm thinking of is... Like... where's my mouse? Like, 40k orcs. Let's see. Warhammer 40k. Orcs, cartoon. Because I'm definitely thinking of like a more. I'm definitely thinking of these guys. I'm thinking of more cartoonish style. Okay, yeah. This is actually good because I can see kind of how they do these big chins, and it's not okay. 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 Okay, so that's how they do the chins. Okay, let me show you what I'm seeing. What are some good... Let's see, copy image. This is a goofy picture I'm about to put up, but it's a decent side profile. I think this is why I've been kind of, no, I need to go here and then, because the chin is going down. It's a big chin, but it's going down and around more. Okay, you can't see. It's going down and around more, and it's the jawline itself that's going out, not the actual chin itself. I think that's where I've been missing out. It's the jawline, not the chin. Or I've been trying to make it the chin. Undo the undo. That's on its own layer, right? Yeah. Okay. What layer is this? What's this layer? Okay. What is that? That's constantly bumping. Is that this? I don't know. I have something that's constantly bumping into the wall. Okay, so it's more the jawline. Oops, wrong color. Let's see. Okay. I am so unused to drawing. And then there we go. Okay. Okay. And then I'll take off the fangs and I move them up a bit. This is a really important part. Because most of the stuff that I've thought up is just random jokes around being done by the Twillagers and Yellagers, so I really want to get them done. The other people I've thought about the most, so I really want to get them figured out. I keep having my, whatever it is, I keep having my, I can't think, my brain is dying. No, I ate before this and it's sapping all my intestines. They're pulling all of the nutrients from my brain. They're like, ooh, we need them. Yes, we need these sugars. We need this oxygen because we're doing stuff down below and you can't help us, Buster Brain. So they're taking it away from me. They look kind of sad though. I don't want them to have just as long as a face, but I do like. Maybe I make the lips bigger. Let's try that, see how that works. Nah, I think we're getting too far away from. It's too realistic at that point. It needs to be more. It needs to be more simplified. Well, it's not cartoony enough. It looks too serious. Like, I want them to look super goofy. Like, they're just sitting there and just like, sword, wheelie, fight. Just like stuff like that. I can never hit the right button ever, and I never will. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. I'd like to figure out just like, it'll be something that'll change over time, but I'd like to figure out a general look for everybody that I'm happy with. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just something that I'm happy with. So that we can start. If we can figure out colors, I'm probably gonna do, just like I did with this, just mostly flat colors and a little bit of basic shading. Doesn't gotta be crazy. I want these to be cartoons. They're supposed, well, not cartoon, they're cartoonish. They're meant to just be like quick little comics. I think I need to go more exaggerated. Oh wait, hold on, I think I got it. I'm not treating this like it's 3D, I'm treating it like it's... treating it like it's 2D. So it's like this, and then like that. Oh, that's a little bit better. So we actually kind of got the lip there. Yeah. And then... there we go. No. I like that line. Let me see how they look in total. This isn't what they're gonna end up looking like. But it's really not too far. I always imagine them mostly bare-chested, just these huge refrigerator beings with basically just kilts on. They carry their swords underneath their arms and don't have them properly in sheaths. Like that. I'm getting... My brain is going. I feel like we're closer to something, but I'm not quite happy with it yet. This one over here, you can't see me. This one over here that's constantly screaming. I keep forgetting about him and looking over and seeing him. You know, so I was thinking of, I think I might need a little bit more reference because I'm not really I'm not really seeing what I want. It's off, but I couldn't tell you how. Another person I was thinking of, they're kind of based off of, not in intelligence, but just kind of in general, but in style, is Schnitzel. From Chowder. There we go. Did I spell Schnitzel right? I did. Wow. Yeah, this guy. Let's see. Copy image. Edit paste. There we go. This guy. Look at him. Schnitzel was definitely, I think in build especially, I want them to kind of be based off of him. But, you know, more, just a little bit wider. Or I guess Schnitzel, or also kind of skips from regular show 2, but not nearly as detailed, and definitely shorter. Let's see. Also, they're definitely not as smart as Schnitzel. Oh. Ugh. Ugh. Hold on, I need to show you this. It didn't occur to me that people would do this, but they did. Oh. It's a Schnitzel cosplay on here. There's something just kind of cursed about it. Oh, it's because this person's face is here. Okay, I thought... I was thinking, okay, I just realized this was a face, but I was like, why did they give Schnitzel like a realistic nose and not everything else? But it's because this person's actual face is just right. Oh, there's just something kind of cursed about this, I'm not gonna lie. I mean... It looks like they kind of just cobbled this together. And they did pretty good for that. But there's just something really cursed about just a really realistic nose on Schnitzel. And like weird proportions. I couldn't tell you. Alright. Ooh, okay, let's get that out of here. They tried. They tried, I'll give them that. And it looks like they're at like a school or something, especially with like the weird art in the background of like SpongeBob. I don't know, maybe they're doing like a cartoon character appreciation day. Why are there a bunch of pictures with Schnitzel with just a giant sandwich that only has lettuce on it? He's looking very mad and put out. Oh my goodness. I don't know if he's the best. I don't know if he's really the best reference for this. Now I think about it. A, Essential's way too smart. B, I kind of like the overhanging. He's got a really pronounced eyebrow ridge, and I do like that. Just look at that. That just looks natural on Schnitzel. But I don't. Having a little bit of eyes poking out there. No, that just makes them look weird. What if I make them really big? No, they just look like frog demons whenever I do that. Yeah, I'm not really feeling Schnitzel as a reference, I'm gonna be honest. Let's see, who else? I said skip some regular show, but definitely not in face. That's kind of what I'm focused on right now. I'm gonna go back to the 40k orcs, because they're probably a lot closer to what I want, minus, the ability to warp reality with pure belief. It's such a funny concept. If the orcs weren't actually just a terrifying force of chaos, well, not actually, they're not a force of chaos. Very specifically in 40k, they are not a force of chaos. If they weren't just purely meant for battle and destruction, excuse me, oh my goodness, then they would almost be comical. But because they're just these crazed warriors that are extremely difficult to kill, that just crave more war and bloodshed at all times, it makes them so much more of a threat. Because if they weren't reality warpers, collectively as a species, they probably would have been wiped out a long time ago. But the fact that they are is super funny. Maybe one of the funniest abilities ever to give to, easily one of the funniest abilities to ever give to mostly stupid species. Oh, I believe it works, so it does. Oh yeah, apparently they all speak with British accents because they're based off of British soccer hooligans, which is really funny. Oh. I know you didn't hear that was really funny in my voice. My brain, I just got so sleepy all of a sudden. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. I'm gonna fix my camera a little bit so I'm not just a head peeking out. Okay, I'm thinking here because I'm just not liking it. One thing I did want to do is, okay, I'm thinking about for Saturday, I want to play that Mouse PI game. But it's one of those ones where I like the art style, but I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I want to spend money on it. So I'm gonna look at the reviews real quick. It's only $30. So as long as they're halfway decent, I'm gonna pause that. It looks really cool. Oh, 832 overwhelmingly positive reviews. It looks, oh my goodness gracious, so cool. I'm not very into the game yet, but I'm already loving it. The atmosphere, the nice finished cartoons, the humor, the voice acting, the jazz soundtrack, everything blends together perfectly. The gameplay is fairly basic shooter, but the artistic direction and the private detective theme make it a blast to play. Despite the minimum specs on the page says, you don't need 6 gigs of VRAM to run this. The fact that it can run on a Steam Deck means it can run on much less just fine. It stands out right away thanks to its black and white hand drawing. The rubber hose animation, the audio work is a big plus. Voice acting is solid with Troy Baker. Let's see. It runs surprisingly well at the game debut. There's also a lot of flexibility in settings. I don't really care about that. This game rules amazing start style atmosphere. Reminds me of Bioshock games for some reason. Ooh, that's good. It works perfectly on Linux. I don't care about that. Can only tell I'm going to love this game. Performance is excellent too. Good performance. I don't know what kind of cheesy schmuck wouldn't love this game. Okay, that's good. No one's really talking about the story, and everyone's saying like, "Hey, it runs really good. It's fun. It's fun to play. Reminds me of Bioshock." I think that's. I think I gotta get it, man. I think this is what we're doing on Saturday. Might stream it tomorrow. Let's see. Okay, because I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about this game. I was like, it looks cool. It looks cool. It's only $30. But it was one of those things where it's like, hey, is it just the art style that's carrying this game? Or is it like, oh, what is it? Is it just the art style that's carrying the game? Like all those, my brain just died on me. Cuphead. Oh my goodness. Is the game just relying on its art style like all those terrible Cuphead clones? Or is it actually decent too, like Cuphead? That's what I was trying to say. I realized as I was saying, it's like, man, it really sounds like I'm trying to say that Cuphead is a bad game. I've never played it. I do want to one of these days. Ooh. How much is that? I might. Oh, that's only $20. That's only $20. And I can get that and the DLC for $26.99. Although that's definitely a controller game. I might be able to play controller games. My thumbs have been feeling a lot better. I can now type without any issues. Turns out like doing stretches and actually like massaging the muscles have helped so much, especially massaging these muscles around in here. Oh my goodness, that's kept these muscles from constantly being like tight and agitated because it was these muscles down here that were constantly pulling on them. So I don't know, I need to watch how much money I'm spending, but Cuphead might not be bad. Although I don't know, I need to finish Clair Obscur and a bunch of other things. I don't really want to be buying games. Also, I need to beat Inscription again. Man, I gotta tell you, I was not feeling Inscription. I started it in February, and I was getting like, I know I gotta actually like beat him and like make a deck, but I was really not feeling it. I've heard people say it's an incredible game. I think I just gotta get past that little like cabin area. I think I just gotta get past that little cabin area. And actually like learn how to build a decent deck to really get into it. Oh, my brain is dying so hard. But one thing I really wasn't liking is that I was kept doing runs, but it felt like I wasn't really like gaining anything out of doing the runs. Not quite like Slay the Spire, where like you do a run and you at least get like some XP, or you get some unlocks, or you get like some XP towards an unlock. So even if you have like a pretty crappy run and you don't get very far and you don't get very good cards, then there's still like some progression there, because you can still see yourself moving towards unlocks. I'm really itchy right now. Oh, my face. Okay, but I really wasn't feeling that with Inscription, so I think I just need to like just buckle in and go for it. I don't want to look up anything about the game because I've had most of the story spoiled for me years and years ago when Matt Cats. He's a version of MatPat that makes very similar videos, but just at a more bulky, worse quality that are really uncomfortable to hold in your hands after a while. But MatPat made a game theory on it years ago, and I watched it, so the story was mostly spoiled to me. And I unfortunately have a really, really, really good memory for things that I've watched. So I can at least remember the basics. I can remember some of the stuff, like there's only the continue, and eventually, once you beat that guy, you'll eventually get to be able to start a new game, and that's when it really opens up with some roguelike stuff. So I think I just need to get past like that opening area in the cabin, but and I'd probably like it a lot more, but I was kind of hitting a wall and I wasn't really enjoying it, and I'm tempted to look up some stuff to just get past that, but at the same time I don't really want to do that because I remember a bunch of stuff about the story, but it's been a long time, so I've forgotten a bunch too, which is pretty rare for me. So I want to try to do it as blind as I possibly can. So yeah, but I think, yeah, especially since my thumbs are doing better, I also bought Hytale forever ago. I want to do more Slay the Spire. I want to do some more Satisfactory. With my thumbs feeling better, I want to get back in and finish Clair Obscur. I got Mugenics too. I was having fun with that game, but it's just like one run takes so long in that game. That's the thing that's held me back at it. It was like, oh, one run takes forever. But it was a very fun game. Let's see. Then I also have Borderlands 4. I want to do some stuff in there. And then I have Silksong. So I've got a... And then I'm also playing Factorio. Like... Factorio is my offline game. And some Slay the Spire too. Man. Mouse PI seems like it might be a fairly quick game. So I'm fine with getting that, but I don't want to get something like Cuphead right now. So... we'll stick with what we got. Where's my cat? Oh, there it is. I just scroll up. I'm dumb. Okay. But I think I will get Mouse PI. For my account. Private. Ooh. Continue to payment. I don't know why it would be private. I agree. Yes. Working. Yay! I don't want to install now. I almost click install now just out of habit. In the middle of streaming. You don't want to install games while you're streaming. Okay. We'll do that a little bit later. Little bit later. A little bit later. Let's see. Wait, what? Oh, this is a bundle. Sorry, I saw there was something from the Blueprints team and I was like, did they add something onto the game? Because it's been a while since I played that. But it's just a bundle. Animal Well, Outer Wilds, Tunic, Fez. Outer Wilds is one of those games I want to play too. Blueprints was so good. If it didn't come out the year that it did, it would have done so much better. Hey, wait a second. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, just a bunch of stuff. Okay. Alright, I need to stop looking at this stuff. Yeah, okay. We're doing a drawing stream. I don't know what I want to do with the villagers. I'm kind of going back and forth on there. Okay, kind of going back and forth on their heads. Because the way I imagine them in my brain... Well, now the way that I've drawn them, I'm starting to take over how I imagine them in my brain. Now imagine some of the scenarios I put them in, and I don't really like... I can't even tell you what it is. I think maybe it's just that... Okay, maybe I do have a little bit of an idea. I think it's just that... I always imagined this being a little bit higher, like right up... The chin being like right up next to it a little bit. That does help. Just a bit. Maybe I need to make this bigger and go more cartoony. Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. That actually is a lot closer to how I imagined it. Okay. I think the chin just did need to be a little bit bigger and further up. Because I want them to look like stupid little goobers. But I do not like the eyes over here. I think maybe it's because they're too thick, if I'm going to be honest. That up here? Yeah. Also really do not like the mouth, if I'm going to be honest. I need to figure that out. Okay, that's better. Making them thinner and more round like that, I like that a lot more for like the bird look. Okay. And then I think I was really just using a pen that was way too thick, honestly. Okay, that just made it look like no, that makes it look too much like he's got like a Chad chin going on. Actually, hold on. I want to... That's why I wasn't drawing anything. I was on the erase. No, okay. No. Oh, okay. Adding that little bit of line over that actually helped out a lot. And then get rid of this. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. One of these days I'll hit the right buttons. That day is not today. I'll get rid of these thick lines. They're actively getting in the way there. Terrible. Get out of here. No one likes you. Okay, you know what? No. I always imagine this to be more square. There we go. Oh, here we go. Now I'm starting to cook. Oh, here we go. Now I'm starting to like this more. we go. There we go. There we go. I don't know if I want the... I kind of do need the tongue. I don't want it to be that present though. There we go. Not this much of a chin. Or a neck, I should say. I want them to have almost no neck. Actually, this needs to be up higher. And let's see. There we go. There's my goobers. That's a little bit better. Okay. This is why I keep drawing stuff. Sometimes taking a little bit of break to buy games on Steam. A little bit of cartoon therapy. A little bit of, oh gosh, what is it? Retail therapy. Yeah, a little bit of retail therapy to wake yourself up. I am starting to wake up a little bit now. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 10. Okay. Wait, am I on this layer? No, I'm not. My absolute fridges units. I want these guys to just be tall and dumb, honestly. Okay. One thing I did like about the Schnitzel design, though, was the feet being a little bit closer in. They're kind of spread apart here. I do like that because it gives them like a wide, like, stance. Let's see how they look with the feet more in. I think they look a little too goofy. I guess I don't really notice them. What layer is this on? It's down here. Okay. Let's mess around with the legs a bit. I've got something I like a little bit more. And I've got a kind of head that I like a little bit more. Let's mess around with the feet just a little bit. What if I just move them in just a touch? Because they felt too wide. But they felt too... I feel too close in over here. Yeah, a little bit. All right, and then I want them to just have like tiny stubby legs, just because I think that's funny. Okay, there we go. They're like 90% upper body and arms. Tiny stubby legs. They haven't been skipping leg day. They've been donating their legs this whole time. Why do you think they're so short? They've been getting the reverse or whatever that. You heard of that? Heard of that surgery where they literally add length to your legs to make you taller? Oh God. Like, you can only really get like an inch or two out of that. So there's no real reason. I think maybe you can get like 3 inches out of it, but there's no real reason to do that if you're like genuinely short. Let's say you're like a guy and you're 5'5". There's no real reason to do that. You'd be much, much better off just lean in really hard and to just sheer unearned confidence and walking into rooms like you own the place. I think that would benefit you a lot more than any surgery possibly could. I do say this as a guy who's 6'1" though, so I'm not really one to be speaking. Although I did used to be 6'2", but years of bad posture made me lose an inch. So, you know. Yeah. Not too happy about that. But hey, at least I had an inch to lose. And at least I didn't lose it from anywhere else. That would be a catastrophe. Barely got that anyways. Alright. I'm liking this more and more. Also, for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know why I imagined them in kilts. But I imagine them in plaid kilts for whatever reason. Maybe it's because, I wonder if there's, I bet you there's like a plaid brush that I can just get and apply. I wonder if I can, I wonder if there's a brush that I can use where you pick like, I wonder if there's a brush that I can use where you can pick like the colors in it, and then you can draw plaid in that color. Or probably what would be easier would be I just have like a plaid layer, like a YouTube Reddish plaid layer and like a Twitch purple plaid, and then I just put that underneath it. So I just leave all the Twillagers. Well, let's see. No, I wouldn't be able to do that in mass because I want them to have like, because then I'd only be able to have them on each sides. Like I'd have to have like, oh, this half the campus over here is red plaid, and it's going to be all the Yillagers, and this over here is going to be purple for all the Twillagers. But if I had like an actual like brush, it was just like, here, pick a base color and then draw plaid. And I can just like, or just use a fill tool and just make them plaid. That would be nice. That would be a nice. Anything that make this go by a little, make the process of actually making these cartoons just a little bit quicker, or comics, I guess, not really cartoons. Let's see. Okay, I'm liking this more for a base design. I want to do a little bit for the actual, like, Villager, the guy who's gonna be the actual, like, mouthpiece, the only one who's basically going to be the voice of the reader. I want him to be like, I want him to be covered head to toe in armor so you can't see what he looks like, but he's got a helmet on that kind of resembles like the Twillager jawline. Like, how do I do this? So it'd be going down here and then come over here, but he's got a visor. That will raise and lower depending on whether or not he's speaking. So whenever he's quiet, it'll be down. Whenever he has something to say, it will raise up. And the only thing that you ever see of him is his eyes, as opposed to the Twillagers and the Illagers, where you almost never see their eyes. So his eyes would just be like sticking out from back here, and it's the only thing that you'd see of him. Everything else is just covered in this like armor that clearly should not be on somebody his size. And it's just all black in here. I wonder, is he really in there? Is there a real person in there? Yeah. But I realize he's supposed to be like a representation of like the chat mascot, and very rarely are they going to be like humanoid, because then you get into the, or humanish, because then you get into like the uncomfortableness of skin color, and you have to be like, well, what race do I make my official mascot? Oh. And when you're trying to create a space for everybody, that can be kind of something you kind of want to stay away from. So they're going to usually try to stick with animal-like mascots usually. That and animal-like mascots are just cuter and more marketable. Unless you're Cabbage Patch Kids. Okay, so like that for a head. Then he's got a stupid feather. That's going to be in Mina's colors. There we go. Hold on, I'm going to move this over so because that's all on the weird layer. All right. And then also, like, no neck and just a tiny, tiny body. His body is pretty much just going to be entirely just like ill-fitting armor segments. Like we got pauldrons right underneath. With like some skinny stick arms. There we go. And then oh, what? Oh, I forgot about that feature. And then let's see. And then I just realized I'm having him flip off. I really want to be doing like one more thing. It's gonna be left hand. He's gonna be doing one more thing. So his hands are actually gonna be like this. So I got this hand backwards. Hold on. Okay. So up and then and then do. There we go. He's got a little bit of a Morty kind of feel going on, I'm not gonna lie. He's feeling a little Morty-ish. Aw, jeez. Aw, jeez, Rick. I've never watched Rick and Morty. I've seen random clips, that's about it. The show feels so... It feels like it's a... Anytime I have seen like anything of that show, it always feels like a race to the bottom to see who can be like the biggest asshole that episode. That's one thing I don't really like about it. Okay. I think that's probably why it never like... I never like caught on. I should be able to just make this chainmail. It just has a chainmail shirt. Okay. Now how am I gonna do leg armor without it looking like a diaper? Ain't that a question? How do I make this not look like a diaper? Ah, no, I don't want that. And then oh, hey! Dude's typing it up, I know. How do you make it like a cartoonish looking knight fully covered in armor without making his pants look like diapers? Or his codpiece look like a diaper? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. There we go. But how you doing, Artsy? How you doing, Wizard? There's that one U-shaped skirt thing I usually do for them. U-shaped skirt thing. U-shaped skirt thing. I guess I could... I could put him in, like... This is supposed to be, like... chainmail. I figured that'd be easier. I could have a belt going around that's like keeping the chainmail on, and then it's like hanging down low, like it's not tucked in properly. And then after that, he's just wearing like, oops, he's wearing just like, oh my gosh, he's wearing just like leather pants that have like random armor bits on them, like around the knees and things like that. That could work. Or I could just make this armor too rather than leather, but just have the chainmail hanging down over. I don't recall art links allowed. Yeah, go for it. I think you posted them before. I know you. There we go. One of you, the little guy just covered head to toe. Let's see, what is this? Artisan. What are these? Artisanhub.com. Oh wait. Oh yeah, that thing. Yes. Because I know what. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. it would make him look a little bit more goofy too, which is good. Let's see, and then well, now it just looks like pants because he has such thin legs. It just looks like he's wearing like those like poofy breeches. Oh. Hold on, we might have to redo this a bit. Let's see. I think it's too long. That could be it. That could be it. Let's try this again. Start over from here. Okay. And then they're like booty short length, I think. Yeah. I think I need to. You know what? Let's try to do away with a little thing in the center and just make them like basically a metal skirt. That's not bad. Hold on. This actual armor is giving me a good idea. I wanted to get my initials idea out and then look at references. But I'm not really crazy about the chainmail either. Maybe changing this up to actually look a little bit more like a breastplate, if possible. A little bit of that, and then maybe some like straps on the side, keeping it together. Now it just looks like he's wearing a sweatshirt. I think it's just too. Let's see. Maybe he's too. I want him to look like really thin and cartoony, like. These are the main guys. And then there's this guy who's the only one who can actually talk. Maybe he's too thick. I might just thin him up. I want these guys to look really cartoony. There we go. There we go. Little chess piece looking ass over here. Oh, hey, what if we just do... What if we just do this? Where it's like... Looks like pieces of banded iron. Maybe? That's not bad. Let's see, it kind of reminds me of Mr. Hollow Knight's cloak. A little bit. Do I want him to have a cloak? No, he doesn't need more than the feather. He's just supposed to be a little guy. I don't want to give him too much detail. There we go. Okay, I do like the kind of banded look. I suppose Mr. Knight's Cloak, technically. Let's see. Isn't he called... Oh gosh, what is his name? Do they just call him the Knight? They call him the Vessel. I think that's what they call him. The Vessel. The little creature is genderless. Yeah. It's literally just... Oh, what is the phrase? It's, no mind to break, no thoughts to think, no... Oh gosh, what is that phrase? It's like no mind to think, no something to something, no will to break. That's what they were supposed to be. Let's see. Oh, this is gonna bother me. Hold on, I gotta look this up. Where's my phone? Why am I doing this on my computer? Just got my phone. Let's see. Hollow Knight phrase, no mind to think. Okay. No, not interested. I don't care about your AI. Oh, that's what it is. No cost too great, no mind to think, no will to break, no voice to cry suffering, born of God and void, you shall seal the blinding light that plagues their dreams. That's what it is. No mind to think, no will to break. Honestly, it was that no will to break line that was like, ooh, that's so that's so hard. Oh, that's damn, man. It's kind of interesting how I tend to refer to them in masculine pronouns. They're quite small and cute. If anything, I think I'd use feminine pronouns. I think everyone just refers to them with masculine. I don't know. There's something about... I think it's because... Let's see. I think it's because... Let's see. I think it's because... I think I know why. I think I know why. Hollow Knight... Banker. Okay. It's because he has... and then there's the banker, and then there's... Oh, what's the name of the guy who's... I think I have a theory, but I'm checking it real quick because I think it has to do more with how their mask and like their general design is. What's the name of the guy? Cornifer. Okay, that's because I'm trying to think of an example of a female bug and a male bug. Cornifer. Okay, yeah, I think it's because let's see. Female bugs tend to have like softer and rounder features. Female bugs tend to have softer and rounder features and not nearly as many points on them. While male bugs they'll still have soft and round features, but they'll have more points. Like Cornifer. I don't know why I'm showing my phone. I don't know if you can see that, but he's got the big long snout, and it kind of stays that way, and it never like curls or does anything like that. It kind of softens the point. And then the other example I was thinking of is, let's see, yeah, and then Cornifer, as opposed to like Cornifer's wife, who she does have the point, but it's a lot more like rounded and shorter. And her focus is much more along like roundness and softness rather than like the actual point, as opposed to Cornifer. Compare that to the banker, which is another female bug, and she's all soft and round. So she does have that little bit of a point there, but it's way more muted by all the curves that are next to it. So I think the bugs, they probably mostly tell gender based off of how their mask and their shell looks, obviously. So if you're gonna have more like rounder and less pointy features, you're probably more likely to be feminine. But if the pointy features are the more prominent, then you're more likely to be male. So they probably all just assume he's male because he has those two big pointy horns that are on the top of his head. So, and that's much more along the lines of what they would think is masculine. So that's probably why they all refer to him as he, or the knight as he. I think that's why. Because I think to them he would definitely be a lot more male presenting. That's probably a better way to say it. Yeah, I think that's why. Let's see. Although I'm kind of happy with this guy for like a first little pass and just like a doodle trying to figure it out. I'm pretty happy with him. I spent forever on these guys up here trying to get like the chin and the helmet right and the head. The body I figured out what I knew right away, but I spent like an hour trying to get that chin right. This guy did in like 10-15 minutes and he's way more detailed. I think it's because he's just all armor. So, and there's no like facial features other than the eyes. Let's see. My theory is that they draw him blue. That could be it too. Although the banker is female and she's pretty blue as well. But you're right, all the other female bugs are not blue. Cornifer's wife, and then that lady who's obsessed with Zote, and yeah, all the other females are not blue, except for the banker. That's a good point as well. He's got they do tend to be a little bit more colorful, while all the males tend to be more darker blues and blacks and things like that, and grays. Zelda's blue, she's just a slim thick. Zelda, oh my gosh. It's been forever since I played this game. Who's a Zelda again? Oh gosh, I know who that is. Hold on, I can look it up. I have my phone with me. Hollow Knight is Zelda. Oh, that's Cornifer's wife. Yeah, she's just slim thick. But she has the other design aesthetics, which is an emphasis on curves rather than points, and whatever points she has are Bapanada. Yeah. I forgot her name was a Zelda. I'm gonna be so honest. I think it's because we buy stuff from her, but Cornifer plays a much more important part throughout the game to us, because as soon as we get to a new area, we're like, oh my god, where's Cornifer? And we're searching around for him for everywhere. So so Cornifer instantly becomes more important to us in our minds, because they're like, where is he? We need to know, we're lost. Let's see. But even though she's blue, she meets the other design aesthetics where she does have points, but they're all way shorter, and they're have much more curve and roundness to them, rather than the emphasis being on the point. Emphasis on the curve rather than the point. whereas the male's emphasis is going to be on the point, which is honestly good character design, because frankly those are things that we as humans just instinctually understand to be male and female, and it's one of the reasons why they do that with these creatures. So you can instantly understand, like, oh hey, this is supposed to be a female bug, even though it's a made-up species of bug in a video game that's standing on 2 legs and selling map equipments. We still intrinsically understand that it's a female because it's just has rounder and softer features, because that's just what we're naturally inclined to believe as humans. Let's see. Oh, it's 10:30. Ooh, I gotta work tomorrow. Okay. All right. God, that's one of those things that you never really think about until you have to think about it. That stuff's gonna be important because I have one more person I need to draw, and she's the main character. Although that's gonna take me a bit of time. Oh, I haven't even explained what I'm doing yet, have I? Hi. It's been a bit. I want to start making, like, little fan cartoons for a VTuber that I watch. Where is she? Where's that layer? There it is. Oh my gosh, everybody's over her. There it is. Her name is Wilhelmina Frost, and I've been watching her for a while, and I keep having ideas for fun little cartoons, so I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to create the characters and draw them. So, why not? You only live once. So I wanted to get started with this today. Because A, I haven't done any drawing in a bit. And B, I've been gaming a lot, so go back. I like this guy. I like this guy. He's like my favorite guy I've drawn tonight. And I just busted him out of it. Thank you for the idea for the little, the whatever it's called, iron skirt. I think I'm going to stick with the banded design. That looks decent for right now. I might need to sleep on it, though. But I do want this guy. I do want this guy to be, you never see any of his skin. He's just like 2 eyes and a helmet. And whenever he's not speaking, the faceplate will open up. Whenever he's speaking, the faceplate will open up. But whenever he doesn't speak, it'll be down. So it'll be like his mouth opening and closing, but it's just his faceplate. The hands are going to take some work for sure, because I need to make those gauntlets. One of the nice things about it being armor and it intentionally being kind of cartoony is that I can probably leave them a little... No, I'm going to have to work a bunch on those hands. I did some Googling looking at Reddit thread. Apparently cloth, depending on the language you're playing in, can either use masculine or feminine words when referring to the night. Cloth? Big club lady. Oh. Oh. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I know who you're talking about now. Oh, so she probably... Well, that kind of implies... Well, let's see. Depending on the language you're playing in, can either use masculine or feminine words when referring to the night. Okay. Depending on the language... That kind of implies that she might have actually known what the night was. Or at least had a little bit of a... Or at least knew that there was something different about them. Although I think on my playthrough, I think I missed her interactions. And and I do not remember fighting the Mantis Lord with her. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did not fight the Mantis Lord with her. I'm pretty sure I didn't. And then I think I found her later, and she was like, "Oh boy, just going around looking for a fight." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry about that. You're still alive though, so you know you win some, lose some." So like in French, she uses a feminine word, but in Spanish, she uses a masculine word. It's interesting because they're both romantic languages. Let's see, night. What's the Spanish word for night? Or they probably use, I don't know what she calls them in English. Little warrior, little fighter. I have just Google Translate app. Spanish, English, English to switch, please. Thank you. English. Okay, what's the word for night? Caballero. Wait. Caballo. Okay, that is close to the word for horse. Caballero. Wait a second. No, it's vaquero. Okay. I was like, wait a second. Is the word for knight in Spanish just horse rider? Because it's caballero, caballo. And then horse is caballo. Oh, caballo? Yeah, caballo. And caballero. Okay. 3 caballeros. Wait a second. Where did I hear 3 caballeros from? Wait, no, that's like 3 musketeers. 3 caballeros? That's from like an old Disney thing that I saw forever ago. I don't remember. Caballero. Wait, hold on. What is knight in French? Chevalier. Chevalier. Let's see, in French she uses a feminine word, really? Okay, she's not using the word knight then. That's for sure. Because you can definitely say caballero and caballera in Spanish. That's really easy. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm assuming French has masculine and feminine the same way that Spanish does, because they're both romantic languages. But French kind of does its own thing. And I don't know enough about French to really take any guesses there. What does she call him? Let's see. Hold on. This is gonna bother me now. Cloth. Howdy. What does she call him? Howdy, little something. I feel like she calls him little something. This is gonna bother me. This is really gonna bother me. Let's see. Stolen from Reddit in French, that cloth calls you mon ami, or who is my friend. Oh, and then in Spanish dialogue, she refers to you as Guerrero diminuto, which means tiny warrior. Okay. Guerrero diminuto. In French, she calls you mon ami? Really? Well, mon ami, I've heard that before, is just like... I always thought mon ami was just a general term for my friend. It's kind of gender neutral like that. Kind of like the word guys. Not guy, guys with an S. Of course, I never studied French, so I could be wrong about that. I don't even know if there is a... If mon ami is the feminine version, what would be the masculine version of that? It could just be is mon ami. Oh, okay. So mon ami, mon ami. Okay, mon ami, mon ami. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Okay. Okay. Then when I heard mon ami. Oh, the reason why I always heard it mon ami is because it's always like some like sleazy like French playboy who's trying to woo women. That's why he says mon ami. Okay, that's where I've heard it from, like that stereotype in cartoons. He was always talking to women, so that's why he used mon ami. Oh, okay. I just did not. I don't know anything about French. I'm gonna be honest. The only phrase I know how to say in French is, "Ciao, parlez-vous fromage?" Are you thinking Pepe Le Pew? Yes. I didn't want to age myself, but yes. Ciao, Bella. Parlez-vous fromage? I do know what it means. What I'm saying. You know what I'm saying in French? At least I think I'm right about what I'm saying. Parlez-vous fromage? I remember the cheese thing. Yeah, I'm saying, do you speak cheese? Because I always remember the word for fromage. Because it's a word for cheese, which is fromage. And then I know parlez-vous is do you speak. So at some point, my default French phrase became parlez-vous fromage? You speak cheese? Bye. Not on Tuesdays. Luckily, today is Thursday. Is that from Dexter? I've just seen it on Twitter. That could be where it's from, too. That could be where it's from, too. In fact, you're probably right that it probably is from Dexter's Laboratory. Uh-oh. Hey, wait a second. Is that guy a millennial? No. Dexter's Laboratory. I don't make him like that anymore. Probably for good reason. Humor's changed drastically. Although, would a show like that do well these days? I genuinely wonder. I don't... Let's see. Shows I don't feel like would do well these days. Despite the fact that the entire show is calling this stuff out, I don't think Johnny Bravo would do very well these days. Because he's just going around and acting like he's way cooler than he actually is and just hitting on women. And despite the fact that it immediately backfires on him and he's like... he is actively disliked and shunned by women for that. I still don't think it would do this way, to do very good these days, even though it's actively calling out that kind of behavior and pointing at, oh, it's saying omelette du fromage. Okay, that's probably where I got the fromage part from, but because he's just saying cheese omelet. I think Courage the Cowardly Dog would kill these days. Kids would love it. Oh yeah, Courage would do very well these days. Courage would do very well. What's another show I think would do well? Let's see. I think Codename Kids Next Door would do well these days. Just because it's so like goofy and whimsical, and it's all about like all about like childlike imagination, like made real, and all this stuff is all their stuff is like built out of stuff that you can find around your house. I feel like that show would do very well these days. Courage would do well. What's another one that I think would do well? Let's see. I don't think Billy and Mandy would do very well because it relies a lot on like gross out humor, which is just not as widely accepted these days. I don't think Billy and Mandy would do well. Let's see. I don't think Ed, Edd and Eddy would do well because I think the art style would put a lot of kids off because it's not what they're used to. Even though it's definitely like iconic, it stands out, and it is very much its own thing. I don't think it would do well these days just because it would be just a little bit too far out from what they're used to. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other cartoons I watched. Let's see. I think Powerpuff Girls would do very well these days. Let's see. I think like a proper Ben 10 reboot would do well these days as well. Because that was a very much a beloved show back in the day. And they've rebooted it and like redone it a billion times. I think like a proper like reboot or remake from the beginning would do very well. Let's see. Any others? I feel like El Tigre or Mucha Lucha would get marked as DEI these days. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Actually, I think the opposite. I don't think they would get marked as DEI. I think they'd probably get marked as racist. Even though both of those shows were made by actual people who were like Hispanic from Mexico, I think they'd get marked as racist. Actually, it'd probably be both. There'd probably be some who'd mark it as DEI, and then way on the extreme other side, they think it's racist. Meanwhile, the guy who's actually like Mexican is like, ah, man, this reminds me of like my childhood, my imagination when I was a kid, like watching the luchadors, and I want to like turn them into like heroes and whatnot and do all this fun stuff with them. So who actually has like a cultural background with it and just wants to do something fun with it. He would get called like DEI and a racist even though he's like, I'm actually Mexican, man. What are you talking about? I grew up there. This is my childhood. Maybe. I don't remember much of their plots. I just remember liking them. Yeah, they were fun. They were very much fun. Let's see. I was kind of at the end. I was getting a little bit too old around the time of, I don't remember which it came out first, El Tigre or Mucha Lucha. I do remember I liked El Tigre more. Mucha Lucha was okay, but it had like that one flea character I just thought was so annoying, and I couldn't stand it. This just made me think of another show. Oh, what was it? Oh, I thought about it for just a second. I remember Mucha Lucha being silly and El Tigre being cool. Yeah. I think I liked El Tigre a little bit more because it was more like, instead of just wrestling, it was more like superhero focused, and there was just a lot more goofy stuff going on. I was also getting a little old at that time. Let's see. I had just thought of something else. What was it? Let's see. Oh, another one I think would do very well is Total Drama Island. I think if they brought that one back, but they used a bunch of like modern stereotypes, I think that would actually do very well. Like they have like a streamer guy in there. Are you young enough to have caught any of the Secret Saturdays? Um, Secret Saturdays. Wait, were they like? I think I remember them. Were they? Were they going around and like hunting hunting, capturing, and like relocating cryptids and things like that, and uh, actually like documenting them, and it was basically like a show that was they were like they were basically like conservationists for cryptids or something like that. They had their own Chewbacca. Yeah, they had their own Chewbacca who was just a Bigfoot. I am thinking of the right one. The Secret Saturdays. Yep, that's exactly who I was thinking of. And they were basically a mixture between like they're basically babies first SCP organization, like unironically. Okay, but they had their own Chewbacca. Yeah, I remember them. I watched some of them. But I don't remember watching a lot. Let's see. Oh man, it had 3 seasons? Oh, it started coming out in 2008. That's probably why. I remember watching a little bit of it, but I was in high school at the time, so... I had convinced myself I had grown out a lot of that stuff by then. Even though I really loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I was really sad whenever I had to do Pep Band on Friday nights when there was a new episode, and I missed it. I was always really sad when that happened, because it wasn't streaming back then, so I just couldn't just watch it. I remember that one, and Generator Rex seemed really cool, but never getting into much of either. Yeah, and Generator Rex was made by the same people who made Ben 10. I remember it looked cool. I never really watched a whole lot of it. Let's see. Oh. That reminded me of... Did you ever watch American Dragon, Jake Long? I wonder how that one would do these days. I think there'd probably be way too many people who'd read way too into it, if I'm going to be honest. Unfortunately. That one I genuinely don't know. I feel like it probably might end up being in the same boat as, well... I think LT, if I'm going to be honest, I think LT Gray and Mucha Lucha, if they came back, would be probably more heavily criticized than American Dragon Jake Long. Just a hunch. But I heard that one, and Jackie Chan cartoon did really well in other countries. Yeah. Jackie Chan cartoon, I watched that one. That one was actually pretty fun. Shaolin Showdown. That was another fun one. I think that one would actually do pretty good these days, because it had a pretty good cast of characters, and it had a bunch of little fun trinkets and like magical weapons and items that they found, and there was almost always a new one every episode, which is fun. I might need to go back and watch some of these shows I never got to as a kid. Yeah, I did that a while ago. I watched in college I watched Steven Universe, and just after I graduated I watched all of Adventure Time. Almost all of Adventure Time. I think I watched it was just before like the last season came out, and I've never really watched that. I've seen clips here and there, but I might need to go back and do that one of these days. let's see. That and One Piece. I've watched a lot of One Piece. Although I don't really watch shows too much these days. I got into watching streamers and they always have something new. So it's always like a new stream or like a stream that you missed that you need to catch up on. So that takes up a bunch of my time. Although I have been watching the One Piece live action. One Piece has become a proper commitment. It is. I caught up to the end of Wano. I haven't started watching the Egghead arc. Every once in a while, I'll get like a random hair in me, and I'll just be like, you know what? It's One Piece watching time, and I'll just like catch up to current. I need to watch Egghead, especially now that they're doing Elbaf. I'm caught up on the manga, which is good, and I've been watching the One Piece live action. The One Piece live action is actually really good. It's genuinely so good. And now, mind you, they have to change a bunch of the stuff because they're doing it live action, so they can't quite go as cartoony as they can on a cartoon, obviously. But for what they can do, they stick to the story as like close as they can, and then they make sure to, because there are things that are being paid off in the story like way later, way later, that, well, it's stuff that kind of happens that is alluded to way early in the story, and then there's like payoff for it way later. They're able to, or it's really what happens is there's stuff that happens way later in the story that they use as a callback to stuff that happened earlier, even though that stuff that happened earlier, Oda didn't have that stuff that happened way later in mind. But now they're actually able to like do proper call outs and foreshadowing to stuff that's going to happen way later. That was a terrible way of explaining this, but they stick to the story as best as they can, and they have some very good casting, like some just absolutely incredible casting. They're doing like the Baroque Works arc right now, and all the Baroque Works agents so perfectly cast. So perfectly cast. There's one girl who's a little like but I can see why they changed that up a little bit. But the guy who played Mr. 3, the guy who played Mr. 5, and the guy who played Miss Valentine were all perfect. They were so perfect for the roles. And then Vivi's pretty good. All like the main cast is perfectly casted. And the guy that got to do Dr. Correa and Hiruluk are just out of the world perfect. How far do you think they can get into the live action before the actors get too old? That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, what is it? Canonically, in the story at that time, they're all, let's see. I'm pretty sure Sanji is in his early 20s. Zoro's 19. Nami and Luffy are 17. I think Usopp is 16. Before the time skip, I think. So, I mean, they're doing about like one season a year or so. So, we don't think they're going to get all the way to the end of the story. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the budget's going to dry up, and it's going to get canceled before that. I think, and then also there's stuff that happens later that I just don't know how they're going to do, if I'm going to be honest. Especially, like, I can see how they're going to do, like, Gear 2 and Gear 3. That makes sense. I have no idea how they would be able to do, like, Gear 4 or Gear 5 Luffy. I actually think Gear 4 might be harder than Gear 5, if I'm going to be honest. Because it usually has Luffy like bulking up and like really really changing his body, and like actually physically transforming, either getting like real bulky or like real thin, and then he's doing like crazy hockey coated I don't know if you know anything about One Piece, crazy like hockey coated like bendings that are going at incredible speeds. I don't think that they're going to be able to do that. If anything, I think probably the furthest they will get will be to the end of the Paramount War, and then a little bit after that with Luffy going off to train with Rayleigh. I think that might be where they end it, the live action. It's very likely that they might go further than that. However, that's really far into the story. That's like, oh man, honestly, if they can get to Water 7 and Impel Down, that's like the most universally like beloved chapters. I don't know if you know anything at all about One Piece. I'm just ranting about it like you actually know stuff. But let me tell you what, One Piece is one of those things where I don't know why I started watching it, but then I just kept doing it, and I think I was just watching it to have something to watch, especially when I was a teacher and we had summers off. I was like, well, One Piece takes forever. And I've already watched Bleach and Naruto Shippuden and regular Naruto, so I guess I'll give One Piece a try because it's like the other of like the big three. And I was watching it and I was enjoying it, but I didn't really actually fall in love with the series until I actually just sat down and read the manga. And then it took me about, I want to say like 2 months to finish reading. And that was with me like just hooked to it. It took me a while. Let's see. To put things a little more to context, I read all of Bleach, which is like 400 and some chapters, in like a week. One Piece, do you think the manga is better than the anime? Let's see. The anime can tend to drag a bit. But really, they're so comparable that it really doesn't make too much of a difference. I would definitely recommend reading the manga first, and then if you still want to, then going back and watching the anime, because you'd be like, oh yeah, I get to see this part actually, like this fight or how this goes. I think it actually makes it a lot more fun that way, because you might already know all the story beats that are coming, but then you actually get to see them like actually happen in real time in front of you instead of just being like still frames, and it makes it pretty special. But it's one of those stories that looks so cartoony on the outside, but Oda is genuinely the Homer of our time. They are the modern day Iliad and Odyssey, specifically the Odyssey, and hopefully not as tragic. But let's see. I think who is it? Is it Toei or Shueisha? I think it's Toei Animation that makes the anime. They might take their time and they might stretch out some stuff way more than they need to in the anime, and put in a few too many like staring back and forth with dramatic music playing in the background, stuff like that. But especially in some of the later, my brain is dying on me, arcs, but they're still very faithful to the story itself. And when they absolutely need to for a fight, they 100% lock in and they show it in all its glory. they know One Piece is kind of a golden goose, and there's no way it should have lasted this long, and it has, and it just keeps bringing in more and more people and getting more and more people excited as time goes on. So I've heard that people working on One Piece have been caught using AI in a different manga recently. I don't know anything about that. I know Oda would hate that. Wait, different anime. Let's see. I know Oda specifically would hate that. Oda's also a bit of a perfectionist. For good or bad, that man has a story to tell, and it's like possessed him, and I don't think he's going to be able to do anything else or really even enjoy his life until he's done with it, which is sad because it's been going on for almost 30 years. Man, I just want that guy to have some time with his family. Although he is taking like a 3-month break right now. I hope he's spending time with his family and like seeing to his health, because I've heard about the way he works, and he only sleeps like 4 when he's like actually like in the office. He just sleeps at the office. He's there like only sleeps like 4 hours a night, and then he'll like only go home like once a week, and he'll spend most of the time just like resting and sleeping. And he's been doing that for years, and I'm like, oh man, like the story's really good, and you can definitely, and like you can tell like you can tell just like how much creativity and passion and whatnot he pours into it. But at the same time, I want the guy to take care of himself. I don't want him to actually be able to spend time with his family and his kids, you know? Because I feel like people will still be there to read One Piece once his kids are grown. But you can't redo the childhood with your kids. You just can't redo that. So yeah. I feel I don't know. I feel like he's just it could be part like the culture. Like that's what he was just always done for making manga, because that's just kind of like the normal. Putting in like crazy hours like that is kind of just expected. But at some point, like he's in his like 50s, almost 60s, and I want him to take care of himself. I want him to actually have a little bit of a life, because I think it would honestly it would stink if he poured all of his time into this and then he worked himself to death, and then he didn't get to actually like enjoy really any time with his family after that. It feels like to make it in this deep into a series, you gotta just be like that. It's true. I think he's also just like that. But at the same time, what is it? I was watching some videos a while ago on this, and it was what was it? And it was watching some videos about like, it was right after I like finished reading the manga for the first time, and I was like watching some videos about Oda and whatnot. And I remember the one thing that stuck out to me was Oda was pretty good friends with Kishimoto, the guy who did Naruto. And the day after like Naruto ended and Kishimoto didn't have to be in like the office that much anymore, he like messaged Oda and was like, today was a wonderful day. I slept in. I went for a walk with my kid through the park. And I did all these wonderful things. I remember, I forgot what he said exactly. It was something along the lines of, he was tempted to go home. At that point, he was tempted to go home and do the same thing himself, but he knew that if he did, he would just stay and never come back. And so he stayed at the office and kept working, because he's like, if I go home right now, I'm never going to come back to this. I'm just going to be with my family. And that like broke my heart. I was like, come on, man, you can do both. You could have a work-life balance. But I think you're right. I think he's just built like that. I don't know. It's when a piece of art has moved you that much, you just want the artist to be okay, being like, hey, like, you've done a good job, man. You can take a little easier. You don't have to be all gas, no brakes. Like, you're doing a good job. It's okay. You know, you want to preserve the artist and the art, you know? Anyways, all right. Speaking of preserving, I need to preserve my sleep schedule. All right, but I think I did. I think I did pretty good today. I'm probably not going to do all of this comic on stream. I just wanted to get started with it and put it out there. So, because getting started is often the hardest part. But I'm glad with what I did today. I'm actually the most proud of this guy. I thought he was going to be way harder than these... Oh, that was a reference. Than these guys. But these guys ended up being way harder for me for some reason. This guy just kind of came out in like 5 seconds. It was just there. It was just in my brain. But yeah. But now I have to chibi... I have to find some way to chibify this lovely lady, which is going to be very interesting. I'll figure it out. Because she's got a cape, she's got a sword, she's got hair, all sorts of different colors. We got to figure out... I got to figure that out. But I'm working from home tomorrow. So, I might work on this a little bit then. Yeah. Anyways, I'm probably going to be back on... I might be back tomorrow? I'm definitely going to be back on Saturday. Because I want to play that new Mouse PI game. Have you heard of that one? That one that's like... In like that that like shooter game that's in like that 1930s... like Steamboat Willie art style. It just came out today. And I just checked the Steam reviews. Everyone's like, yo, this game rocks. And I was like, oh, okay, I was interested in it, but it has like over 1,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews. I'm like, all right, I don't want to see anything more about this game. I'm not watching any gameplay. I want to go into this blind. But but everyone's saying like, hey, yo, it looks great. Let's see. When I said mouse, I was thinking of Mina. Oh yeah, I've seen that one. When you said mouse, I was thinking Mina the Hollower. Mina the Hollower. Funnily enough, this girl I'm chibifying, her name is Mina. Well, Wilhelmina, but she goes by Mina. I don't know who Mina the Hollower is, but let's see. But everyone was saying like, it looks great. It runs buttery smooth. The gameplay is fun, a little bit reminiscent of BioShock. I was like, all right, well, hey, I love BioShock. Let's do this. Let's friggin' do this. So I'm probably gonna be doing that. If I'm feeling pretty antsy, I might do that tomorrow. Especially since I think that other thing isn't until Sunday. Sunday. Monster Truck Madness. Yeah, I gotta look at some stuff though. Anywho, McScoodle. Alright. Anyways, I need to go get a shower. I need to go to bed. I need to do all that fun stuff. But it's been fun. Thanks for stopping by, Wizard. I'll be back definitely Saturday, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Probably tomorrow. I kind of want to play Mouse PI. I'm actually excited for it now. Okay. All right. You have a good one too. I will see you later.